Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another video right here on Free Will Photos. Today, I wanted to try out something, and I think it will be a little bit of a fun series, and it is something that I do regularly, and I recommend that you do. Today, we're going to do the single filter challenge. All right. So the way that this works is I always allow myself to be able to use the develop module. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Brilliance AI because I think that it's important to get a good canvas. And that's what the develop module allows for. Brilliance AI is only working with tools right here, sometimes with the portrait, but there's no photo of a person in this particular video or this image actually. So I'm not going to worry about that. All right. Now, if I needed to, I can come in here and modify the tone and color. I am working on a raw file, so all that said and done. But what I personally like to do, and in fact, I kind of like Vivid, Camera Vivid. Let's see what ON1. Yeah, let's go with Camera Vivid. I really do like that. So we're just going to go ahead and close that down and say that that's good to go because I think it is. And then I'm going to jump over to the effects. Now, today, I decided that I was going to work with the HDR filter. Now, if you have never used the HDR look, that's perfectly fine because we're going to explore it today and hopefully it will be of value for you during this video. Now, I've already made some creative edits using that color filter, but I feel like that's okay. All right. Now, the HDR look filter. Let me just go ahead and minimize this. We'll start with the top portion here. Sometimes it's worthwhile to use the styles and at least to get us going. All right. And I just like to hover over these. I don't think that I'm really feeling any of these, although, yeah, I think natural would be the best, which I think is what it's defaulted to anyway. We'll go ahead and close down the styles section and really get to work on this particular image. Now, I'm no expert at this filter. I just wanted to use this filter in today's video because it doesn't get talked about all that much, and this probably isn't even the type of photo that you would think to use an HDR filter on. But if I turn it off and turn it on, we can see what it's kind of doing, which is bringing out some vividness in the sky. And we'll take a look underneath this roof here, see what it's happening in the shadows. So it's bringing a little bit of information back in the shadows, which HDR, by the way, stands for high dynamic range. Now, we're going to go ahead and pull the compression. And I feel like this is the best way to learn how to use a tool. But what I found is the compression, I like to pull it up beyond the 50% mark. And when it comes to detail, this is very specific by the image. Now, I see what it's doing under here, and maybe this will be one of those things where I can't really get away with using a single filter because I want to stay true to the challenge. I do this often in my own time because this is how I learned the software. So I'll probably just pull that like so, and I think I'm going to leave clarity where it was because clarity can like really grime the image up, and I don't want to do that. So we'll leave clarity alone. Let's go ahead and close down the HDR look, and let's jump into the tone. So I have some highlights here in the clouds. Actually, let's take a look at the levels. There we are. So if I hold down the J key, oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff blown out there. Let's see if we could bring that back. And if not, because I do want to have a appropriate photo. So I'm going to come down to develop, click on tone and color, hold down the J key, and I am just going to pull down on my highlights and maybe even on my whites. And I see it's kind of going around that area, but I think I can live with that. And to me, that's not cheating. Again, working inside of tone and color, that's what I'm supposed to be able to do. And that's the whole point. I may even pull down on the exposure. Yeah. So now I can come back over here and kind of manipulate this overall image Opening the shadows, maybe not so much. I kind of want this to be one of those looks where it's just a little bit more defined, and we're hopefully going to be able to really crank out some color here. So I'm going to go with vibrance and push that up. Yeah, I think that's about as good as I'm going to be able to get with that. This isn't supposed to become like an amazing piece of art. It's going to get us, I'm trying to get as close as I can to making this a really nice looking image. But, you know, when you're only using a single filter, you got what you got. Now I'm playing around with the glow here. I know I'm kind of jumping around. Let's see here. Yeah, I think glow was doing a little bit of something for us. And I don't know if I want the grunge. Yeah, I don't want grunge. That doesn't look good at all. So let's go ahead and turn this off and turn it back on. I kind of like what's going on here. I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is actually turn this into a style. So I'm going to click more, save a new style, and we're going to call this, let's call it, you know what, FWP style 1. Just keep it simple, right? So now what I'm going to do is reset this, and we're going to start over from the beginning and see if we can get a different look, something that's going to allow us to really make this look a little bit more vibrant, if you will. So I'm going to crank the vibrancy all the way to the top. That's interesting. Let's see what else we can do here. If I open up the shadows all the way, okay. And I know you guys are probably like, Chris, what are you doing? You're making this look wildly crazy. Don't worry, I have a plan. Let's see here. Maybe push the highlights. Yeah, I kind of like that. All right. And let's see what we can do with the glow. I don't think the glow is really helping with much of anything. And I'm not going to add any grunge because I didn't like that the last time. Let's take a look at the HDR look here. Maybe I can add in some clarity. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is without the HDR filter, and this is with the HDR filter. All right. So now we got to figure out, hey, what the heck are we supposed to do with this? Well, I'm going to play with my opacity here. Blending this in with the original, I think, is going to help me really kind of merge the two worlds of this HDR look as well as with the overall image. Turn this off, turn it on, and I think that that's okay. So now I still think it's a little too much and kind of cartoony. I think it's a decent edit, but I think we can go a little bit further. So now what I'm going to do is hit the masking icon here, and I am going to apply a luminosity mask. Now, this is something that I've been using more frequently. I'm going to hit the letter O just to turn on my mask overlays so I can see what's happening here. And I'm just going to mess around with where do I want this to really apply tonality wise. I don't think I want this in the sky, so I think I'm okay with it going into the shadows. So I'm going to actually pull this out of the sky, and you could see like the sky is turning black, which means the effect isn't going to happen there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and feather this because anytime I put a luminosity mask, I kind of want that to blur into the image or blend into the image. And then what I want to do is open up the shadows. So I'm going to move my levels down and really start to blend this into the shadows just a little bit more, and maybe pull it from the highlights so it gets a little bit more universal, or it blends a little bit better. Keyword here is blending. Let's hit the letter O, see what happened to our image. And I feel like this looks way more natural. Let me go ahead and turn this off and then turn it back on. And that just looks more natural. Now, I don't know if it's one of the looks that I would personally go with, but it's an option. It's a way that we can put this into practice if you only have one filter, right? So that's one of the techniques. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off. We'll leave this one alone. And then we'll hit add filter. Let's add another HDR look. And I'm going to go with surreal. Let's go crazy. And surreal isn't even really that crazy on this image. If we turn it off, turn it back on, it's a little strong. But let's see if we can do something with a blend mode. Now, I have no script with this. I'm just testing this out. And again, this is what I do in my own time whenever I'm playing around with ON1 or any photo editing software for that matter. It's, hey, what tools are available and what could I do? And I actually kind of like this look, the hard light look. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And this is more of a contrasty type of look, right? So maybe I'll make it a little bit more vibrant, because I do like a more punchy, colorful image. In fact, let me pull down the vibrancy. Hey, that's a look. I actually kind of like it without the vibrancy. So again, this is a way for you to really get, testing out some different ways. Let's see here. Maybe throw in a little bit of grunge. And this is like a darker film look. Now, if I wanted to, I should come over to develop. And in fact, since this isn't a snapshot, let me go ahead and create a snapshot real quick with the other one turned on. So let's turn this one off, turn that one on, come over to snapshots, hit this one, and we'll call this edit 1. And then we'll turn this off, turn this one back on. Now we can come over to develop and start to modify this. All right. So I would probably open up the shadows just a little bit, bring down my blacks. So I am getting a little bit of that look, like a filmic type look is what I'm going for here. So we'll pull down on haze. And what I'm trying to do is really like maybe bring back some of that information in the sky just a little bit. It doesn't need to be like crazy, right? And then maybe bring down the overall exposure, because it could be a little bit darker now that I'm going for like that filmic look. I don't know if this is really a filmic look, but and then maybe we'll pull back on the contrast in the develop here. And, maybe we'll change the camera profile. A neutral looks kind of faded cinematic, which is what I'm trying to go for. Okay, I kind of like ON1 standard for this actually. And then maybe I'll just expose it a little bit more and open up the shadows and bring up the mids. Yeah, so we'll call that a good look. And we'll call this edit 2. Now, one of the things that you can do, at least what I like to do in this particular challenge, is click on the camera DCP profile for black and white. And this gives me a black and white conversion. Because I can only use one tool and there's no way for me to make the photo black and white using the HDR look, what I can do is just change my camera profile and make it go black and white. So that's fair. It's within the challenge. And I do this frequently just to see if it works. Because if it doesn't, then it's fine. And most of the time when I'm doing this for myself, I am not sharing this with anyone. It's really how I find out stuff. So if you ever see me like post something and it's like, hey, look, I just figured this out. This is how it happens, guys. I'm letting you in a little peek behind the curtain of how I learned the software and how I encourage you to learn the software. I think that sometimes we on YouTube, the people who teach programs, we make it look like we have everything figured out when we're making videos. But the truth is, we usually don't always have it figured out. More times than not, I don't have it figured out. And I don't ever want to be misleading. So, hopefully that's helpful and encouraging to someone, if not everyone. So, oh, you know what? I still have this blend mode on the HDR effect. So, maybe I needed that blend mode. See, and this is how I learn what I like and what I don't like. Overlay and soft light, just jumping between these two. I kind of like the soft light one. Wonder what luminosity does. Nah, not feeling that. So let's, hard mix. This is like some, like if you need to do stencil art or something like that, you could get away with it like this. Black and white hard mix, that is the blend. Same thing with linear light, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to go, I'm gonna go with soft light because I do like the overall subtlety of it and the way that it looks. So we'll come to effects, and I'll probably just pull down on the opacity and just fade this into the image until it gets to the point where I'm like, I like that. And I think that's about here. So if I turn this off and turn it on, you could see it just darkens down all of this under the roof type piece information. I don't know, just talking now. And then I like what it's also doing to the sign here. So it's kind of like just bringing everything together cohesively. Now, if I were using another, you know what? I know what I'll do. Watch this. So I don't want to use local adjustments because I would count that as another filter. Now, there are some days where I loosen the rules just because I have a look that is developing and I go use the local adjustment. But today, I'm just going to add another HDR look. And this time, what I'm going to do, didn't mean to close it. This time, what I'm going to do is include more of the grunge look. And let's come up here to tone. Let's pull down on the highlights. Look at that cloud detail that's coming back. And then I'll probably even throw in a little bit of clarity. And let's see if compression helps. Yeah, compression helps me get some of that detail back. All right, let's pull up on detail. I just want to get the cloud detail back. I'm not looking at the rest of the image here, even though that looks great. Let's go ahead and click on the mask. And we are going to mask this into the sky. If it did a pretty decent selection, so we'll do that. And then paint in, hit apply, let ON1 think itself through. And we'll see what happens. Let's get some sky in there. All right, so now we have the sky masked in a little bit. And the challenge with this, if I go with the black and white overlay on a black and white image, it's kind of misleading of what's happening here. But it actually did a pretty decent job. So maybe what I'll do is just throw in a little bit of feather. Maybe like so, and I think that'll be fair because, it's all subjective, right? And then maybe pull down the opacity because it doesn't need to be like crazy strong. It should blend in pretty decent with the overall image. And then let's pull down on the shadows since I'm only targeting the sky, but that's not really doing much of anything. So never mind. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Oh yeah, turn it back on. Look at what that does to the image. Like, this is how you get creative. When you have limitations, you get the most creative. And I love doing this, even if it comes out looking not so good. Like, I think that this is okay. It's not the edit that I'm the most wild for, but it's definitely something worth doing. So hopefully you found some value, at least in taking a peek behind the curtain, looking at how I use ON1 to work my own creativity using the single filter challenge. And I challenge you to do the same thing. And then let me know in the comment section how it worked out for you. If this is a series that you find of value, you find it of interest, then please let me know in the comment section as well, because I can keep making videos like this showing you how I tinker around inside of ON1 Photo Raw. So with that, until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.